In this video, I'm going to work a few of the inverse square law problems so you can see how to do these. I went ahead and started setting up number 1. It states, an X-ray exposure of 200 milliroentgen is reported at a distance of 40 inches. If the same technical factors are used, what will the exposure be if the distance is increased to 72 inches? Here's your formula. I1 over I2 equals D2 over D1 squared. What I like to do just to make sure I have all my plugins right, I like to identify, of course, the first intensity is 200. We don't know the second one, that's what we're looking for. The first distance they give you is 40, the second is 72. So let's go ahead and set this up. So it's going to be 200, I'm going to try to do this over X. Might not be perfect since I'm doing it on the computer. Equals, we put 72 at the top because we put the second distance at the top. A lot of people miss this step and they accidentally put the first distance on top. 40 squared. Okay. Now, what we need to do next is square both sides. I'm sorry, just square the distances. So that still remains 200 over X equals 5184, because that's 72 times 72. And then 40 times 40, or 40 squared, is 1600. Now, the next step, once you've squared the distances, you need to cross multiply. So we get 5184X equals 1600 times 200 is 320,000. Now we have to divide both sides by 5184X. So 5184 divided by itself is just going to be X. And then 320,000 divided by 5184 is 61.7. You can round just to the first decimal place. Don't forget your unit, which is milliroentgens. So your answer is 61.7 milliroentgens. Alright, let's look at number 2. This one you have to work a little bit different because it's asking for a distance this time. So this question is asking an X-ray exposure of 100 milliroentgen, that's our first intensity, is recorded at a distance of 40 inches. That's our first distance. To reduce the exposure to 25 milliroentgens, to what will the distance need to be changed? Okay, so we've got our two intensities. We don't know our second distance yet, so we're going to call that X squared over 40, which is our first distance, squared. Okay. Now, we're still going to work the problem the same. We're going to square the distances. This just remains X squared over 40 squared, which is 1600. Now we can go ahead and cross multiply. So we get 25x squared equals 1600 times 100 gives you 160,000. Sorry, I left out the squared. There we go. Now, what you have to do next is divide both sides by 25, just like you normally would. So you get X squared equals 6,400. But we can't leave that X squared. So we square root both sides. Square root X squared, you just get X. And if you square root 6,400, you get 80, and our distance, as the problem states, is in inches, so our answer is going to be 80 inches.